Hello and welcome to Linux Unix Single User System video tutorial. Today we will be exploring different ways how to manage Linux file system. Our learning outcomes are changing and listing directories content, knowing Linux directory tree, the hierarchy in Linux file system, understanding Linux Unix path names, and using simple commands. A Linux directory is a special file that acts as a container for other files and even other directories. You can create directories to hold groups of related files as an alternative to keeping all your files in one huge directory. A Linux file system is also like a file cabinet with a bunch of folders, each of which can contain subfolders and files. After installing Linux and creating a new user account, you will end up with a file system hierarchy like the one shown here. As you can see, the file system resembles an upside-down tree and is very similar to the tree-like directory structure in DOS. The top level is donated by a slash and is called the root directory. Several system-related directories are bin, dev, and sbin. Let's have a quick stroll across the different directories under the Linux file system. And let's take a look at their purpose in life. /bin contains the Linux system commands and program. /dev contains special device files that correspond to hardware components. /etc contains configuration files for Linux and other installed software. /home contains the home directory for each user on the system. /sbin contains more Linux binaries. /root is the home directory for the root user. /user contains system programs and other files. Please note, do not delete or combine directories or file system below the root directory. Unless you know what you're doing, this could prevent your system from booting or operating properly. As a Linux guru, these are some of the frequent used commands in the terminal when dealing with changing directories. The pwd command displays current name of active directory. The ls displays content of the current directory. The ls-a displays all content including hidden files. The cd change directories. The cd- change back to the last known directory. ls-la view permissions and file size of all files in the current directory. Furthermore, there are two types of path names, an absolute or relative path names. And this is very relevant to understand as a Linux user. A path name is the route you take along the branches of the tree to get to the directory you want. An absolute path name begins with the root directory and follows the tree branches. And a relative path name does not begin with a slash. Open up the terminal and let's explore the file system by right-clicking on the desktop, selecting Open in Terminal. When you first log onto your Linux system and open the terminal, you will notice the username and the type of file system or the type of system and the working directory that you're in. In Linux, the directory you are standing in is called the working directory. This directory is set to your home directory. To find the name of your working directory, let's use the pwd command. And this will give you the name of your directory. And to list the files in the working directory, you simply use the ls command, as this will list out all the files in this directory. To change your working directory, you use the cd command. And to return to your previous directory you entered, you will use change directory space dash and enter. Let's change from one directory to another directory. Let's move from the desktop to temp by simply using the cd command. We can move from desktop to temp directory. Now that we're in the temp directory, let's go to user share and documents. We will also use the change directory command space /user/share/document. Now let's list the files and the permission in this folder. And in order for us to do that, we will have to use the ls-al command. As you may notice, the ls-al command gives us the right permissions of the folder, where they're located, and the date at which they were stored, and also the size of the directory of folders. And these are the different types of folders or directory: license, manual, packages, etc. Finally, switch users by using the su command. You will type su space dash and you will be prompted for a password. Enter your password. As you may notice, our terminal has changed color, and for you to know exactly where you are, you can also simply use the pwd command, as this will tell you you are in the root directory. And if you want to move it one step further by knowing exactly what type of folders are in the root directory, you simply use the ls command, as this will list each and every item that are in this directory. There are some hidden files, and for you to be able to see those files in this directory, you can also use the ls space dash a command, and this will list everything, including files that were hidden, like right here and right here. After finish browsing through, you can simply type exit to exit the terminal. Finally, let's recap. Now we are able to change and list directories content. We are also able to understand the organization of Linux directory tree and understanding the hierarchy in the Linux file system. And we're also able to understand the two different types of path names. And most of all, we are able to use simple commands. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video.